Welcome to Snowmobile Sessions Live on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms. It's the #1 destination to learn about snowmobiling, network with other sledders, and have an awesome time doing it. We'll meet other snowmobilers that share your passion and show your fan photos along the way. Snowmobile Sessions Live. Enjoy the ride.
All right, we're back here, week 2, season 6, and Drew and I are in the studio here, and we brought in our sponsors, TrailLink. We have Lachlan in the top corner here, and below him is his brother Dan. How you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
Oh, really good considering.
Yeah, doing well here as well.
Yeah. So how did that go, by the way? How did the operation and stuff go?
It went quite well. For the people that are in the chat, some of you knew and some of you didn't. I had hernia surgery on the weekend, and I got to say a huge shout out to the Shoulders hernia in Toronto, and just on the Snowmobile Session slide. And I'll call up some pictures and show you guys what it was like and talk about my experience and that type of thing. And it was unbelievable. Met a lot of new friends and been texting actually today with a couple of the guys that I met with, and everyone from everywhere from, down the street from the hospital to there was a guy from San Francisco there, right? And Detroit and every point in between. So it was pretty good. It was a real good experience. Make that full screen, Drew, and I'll just show this up here. And so I went in on Thursday morning, dropped me off, and this is me out front. I made a comment on social media that this ain't no country club, and there was a lot of comments back to me saying it kind of is, and they weren't lying. Like if you look inside, this is the waiting room of the Shoulders Hospital. It was pretty swanky. Oh, wow. And this is a little restaurant. So immediately when you walk in, they kind of check your luggage in, and then they go, hey, go there and have a free lunch. And it was like chili and soup and salad, and I mean you could pick whatever you wanted from the little cafe there, and then they send you up to your room. And this was my room, and you can see the medical bed is pretty much the only thing medical about it. It was like a vintage hotel, for crying out loud. It was kind of funny. It was super quiet too. We're in the city of Toronto, and it was unbelievably quiet in there. And the meals they feed you, I mean, this is a fish meal they had, and it was insane. And then we have the river. I had surgery Friday, and then they just tell you to get up every hour and walk for 10 minutes kind of thing. And then Saturday you could take a little bit longer walk as you need to. So we actually, me and a buddy did 3 kilometers on Saturday, and it was pretty fun. And then you got like in the basement where we had our meals, there was this little lounge area. So if you played piano or guitar, you could just pick up the instruments and go crazy. And one of the reasons I think I got kicked out early was that fact alone. They didn't want "Welcome to My Abdomen" was the song, and they they didn't like me standing on the lunch tables, but that's the life of a rock star. So I just took a few pictures from around the place, getting out of bed and getting into bed, and then they got a picture of me in the OR getting surgery here. God. The nurses didn't find this joke funny either, but the Toronto Zoo, they've done in 2019, they did 400,000 hernia surgeries in 2019, and they did 2 chimpanzees at the Toronto Zoo. So this is Big Mama and her friend, and I said this is kind of what I look like before they shave my chest, And when you're walking around, scurrying around, you got the shoulder shuffle. My shuffle wasn't as bad as some of them there. I seem to have maybe a high pain tolerance. I don't know.
See, I would have liked this.
But yeah, and if you wanted to go out and putt, they had a putting green outside, and you could go to the reception and grab a putter, and and go out there and play around. And
you should have you could have brought your clubs with you. Look at look at that range right there, dude.
It was insane.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
look at the ground. Like, this is basically, you go near Yonge Street in Toronto, and this is Bayview Ave, and it's about, I don't know, what would it be, 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers off the 407?
Like you're pretty much. So I went to well, after I dropped him off, I had to kind of stay in the area, so I just went to I went to like Golf Town, and which is like the downtown Markham, as they call it, the big tall buildings. It's basically like a mini mall, right? But it looks like a city. And that was like 10 minutes from here. It's kind of crazy, the difference of the area. Like, this feels like outside of Toronto, but you're still like in right downtown Markham. Very strange.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And this is
Crazy.
this is like fitness the next day. And it was so funny because when I was waiting there on Thursday, I was kind of nervous, right? I didn't know what to expect. And you hear all these announcements for those people who had surgery today, meet, in your floor lounge, and each floor had their own lounge, and meet in your lounge for fitness or go for a snack or whatever. Like, there's tons of announcements. I was laughing. So this was our fitness the next day, which was kind of cool.
Gary,
And yeah,
are you sure you didn't check yourself into an old person's home or something? Like, that's what it
I
looks
know
like.
it really
Well,
does.
Matt
Like,
starts saying, was the surgery at the center of a retreat? And I think for our American friends, you should say what it costs a night, even without insurance, because I could not believe how cheap it was.
yeah, it was $305 Canadian.
You
a night,
can't
not
get-
counting the surgery. Like,
You can't get an Airbnb in
Yeah.
Toronto for $305 a
Yeah.
night.
yeah, the surgery I think
hotel.
was the person from San Diego told me it was 17,000.
Yeah,
him,
but
but-
it's the stay. Think about what a stay
Yeah.
at a hospital would be
Yeah.
if you went to go do that, right?
But, and I got more stories about him as well. But yeah, the food was in dynamite. Like, I mean, and it's just, and everybody there, the thing is, like, everybody's there for the same thing, right? So it's not like when you go to, like, my wife was in the hospital a few years ago, her roommate had some problem and was puking all night long. It was a problem with her throat. And, it's just, in this case here, everyone's there for the same thing. The people leaving would give the people coming in, like me, tips and hey, don't worry about it. It was really quick and blah, blah, blah. And it was really quick. It was like, you're in and out of the surgery room in about 30 minutes and you really don't feel anything. You're knocked out for the whole thing. And it's like, yeah, it's that's what free healthcare gets you. And yeah, it's a lot of people from the US come up and pay it, and they think they can I think depending on what state you're in, you can get it kicked back. So this is part of our 3K walk we did. Again, right out the backyard.
Looks like Muskoka.
Yeah, right out the backyard. There's a little stream that we walked along, and me and my buddy Steve here, we just went to this orange snow fence, and then we shuffled back. We were both kind of walking slow that day, but we were able to get around. And they have pool. Like this was called the grape juice. No, the prune juice cup.
Oh God.
We had here. So I won a few games and I lost a couple to a really old guy. And this is what the chalkboard said there. Welcome to the Shoulder 5-star resort, hospital stroked out. But that's the kind of running joke. And then the next picture is my buddy from San Diego, who, when Steve and I were walking back from our 3K walk, he was going out and he said, hey, how far does this go? And he was blown away being from the US, how nice Canada is. And he wanted to know if it was all like this around our province and country. And we said, yeah, just keep walking that way. There's a hole cut in the fence. Like, the fence is peeled back and you can go through there. And we just went to this nice little lookout spot along the river. But if you kept going, it goes to Thornhill to Yonge Street. So anyway, so we let him go after we stopped and talked for about an hour, and he went on his merry way. He's a retired firefighter from San Diego. And the funny thing is, later on that night, we're at supper and we were talking about, Americans, what they pay. And there was another guy asking about it. And we looked around to see if we could get the right numbers from that guy, and he was nowhere to be found. And when we went back, this is our 8:30, 9 p.m. snack. We go back after snack. We run into that guy in the elevator, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I was actually, it went right through to Yonge Street. There's a nice old church. I walked around there, and he goes, I went to a British pub and went in and had half a pint of beer. And then meanwhile, his roommate knows he went out in the daytime, like 1 o'clock for a walk, and he hasn't returned yet. And it's like 9. So he gets security looking for this guy. So I said, oh, great. Now you've ruined it for all of us, Sean. Like, no one's going to be allowed to leave. But yeah, so he actually had to go out and look for security because it was late at night. There was hardly any of them on board. And yeah, it was so fun. It was like I said, it was like a mini vacation. So
we can talk about that stuff.
Yeah, we'll get to that stuff later. But
switch back.
It's really cool. But yeah, you can start at the start at the TrailLink stuff, so we can cue that stuff up as we go along. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Highly recommended if anybody has to go through that to look into Shouldas. They're true professionals, and then it's all they do, and they treat you like a king. They literally do. It was so much fun. Probably friends I'll carry on for several years, or maybe tomorrow.
Till the next turn, yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so what are we here for again?
Yeah, that's right. Oh, this is snowmobile sessions. That's right.
This is
Shouldas
sessions.
Yeah.
Shouldas sessions.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll have the lodge sessions there next year.
Oh, God.
So anyway, TrailLink, this is awesome. Glad you guys come on the show, and thank you for your support this year. That's exciting. I ran in, I'll go back to Lachlan. Met at Toronto Snowmobile Show last year, and we just got shooting the breeze. And it just in development at that point in time?
Yeah, so we started working on it, I think, I'd say more or less officially in September of last year. So the show was in October. So it was basically like that. Like, at the show there, those were like our prototype / pre-demo devices. Like, we had stuff there last year, but it wasn't like we were trying to sell anything, because we were more or less just gauging feedback. So that's how I met you at the show there.
Yeah. And it was kind of neat because it was like one of those things where, what is this thing? And we were actually leaving the show.
Yeah. So we were actually there. If you guys remember last year, we were there as part of QUALIPIECES boots. We had our sled there, so we had to hang out all day Sunday to be able to get our sled home. And we were just kind of walking around, kind of just our area near the end of the show. And then all of a sudden, it was like your booth kind of caught our eye because you had the big banner with the phone. Mm-hmm. It was like the big banner that has the phone on it with the app open. And it was kind of like, well, what is this thing? Because it's like we never seen it before, which is true because you guys are brand new, right? So
yeah. And then it was, it was still in development. I think it was still a big question for me of how this thing works, and we kept in touch. And you gave us a bunch of units to use at lodge sessions, which we couldn't get a chance to demo them. There wasn't enough time to get all the sleds.
If I dropped one more screw in the snow, one of those TrailLinks was going through someone's side panel. Like, I was getting so frustrated. I was getting rushed that morning to get them all on. I had everyone set up with the app in the morning at breakfast, and then everybody's got their sleds on and running, and I'm still in my clothes trying to figure this TrailLink stuff out. And there's guys trying to get on their sleds in the morning, and I'm just like, I just told my dad, I just said, I want to try it, but we just can't do it right now.
Yeah. Massard says we're trying to, for sure. But that's the thing. And then since then, you and I went for a ride, and that video's up on my channel. It's one of the last rides I did last year. If it was the last ride I did last year, I think.
Second to last, because the next weekend the sled
starter went. Yeah.
So,
but anyway, like and the changes from TrailLink from February to March was like a giant leap. You know what I mean? Like the technology and features that you guys introduced just was mind-blowing. So I'll let you take the stage now and just tell us a little bit about what TrailLink is, how did it start, and we'll keep the conversation going from there.
Yeah, so I think I guess we got to start off on kind of like what the whole, like, why we started, like why did we come up with this, right? Like, what problem are we really trying to solve? So a lot of times, we'll be out riding like in a big group, right? And if you're riding with maybe some guys, they're a lot more experienced. Other guys, it's like their first year. Maybe someone's girlfriend's out there on the snow, and everyone's at different levels. And before you know it, your group of 5 people is, spread out over a couple of kilometers. So we had this issue up in Cochrane, right? We were up there a couple of times about 2 years ago, and we were losing people. People were making a wrong turn. They wanted to slow down. They're getting a little cold. That sort of thing. It was like negative 35 or something that day too. So
Wow.
that's really when, and that's negative 35 without the wind chill. It was like negative like 40. I don't know if Dan remembers that day, but it was like
Hard to forget.
yeah, that was a cold day. But you're up there, right? You drove 7 hours up north, so you gotta make the most of every day, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we had this issue where like it was hard keeping our group in contact, and we have like the helmet communicators, right? We have the Cardos. But the main issue with those is that not only is their range not very good, but you actually don't know if someone drops out of communication, right? Like you don't know until you try to ask them, like, "Oh, where are you?" Is then you need to like you look behind you and go, "Wait a minute, they're not there." Like I was talking to them 5 minutes ago, now you're not. So yeah, so we're like, okay, what's the solution for that? And that's where we basically came up with the idea with TrailLink. So
Yeah.
yeah, Dan, do you want to add anything there for the beginning sort of intro there?
I think you covered it pretty well. Yeah, we're tech guys by background, so we figured there's got to be some sort of solution to this, and that's how it came to be.
Yeah, at the time we saw that like we're looking into it. It's like what solutions are there, right? And there's like obviously you can buy like a Garmin, like a satellite, phone, whatever for like I don't know, they're like $800, and then you pay $50 a month or something like that for that sort of thing. And then I was seeing also, Polaris sort of has like their buddy tracking built into their sleds, and we saw that we're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. How do I make it work on my sled? And I have a 2006 Rev, so that's not a brand new sled by any means. So we need to try to figure out what we could have.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, I was just gonna say what we can have like for everyone in your group, no matter the brand, no matter the year, something that everyone can just strap to their snowmobile and be able to track each other. So yeah, do you want to pull up the slides, Gary, and I can kind of go. We can go
for sure.
with those.
What I was going to add there was just like, you guys, it's really such a simple problem in the idea of like snowmobiling. Getting separated is such a simple problem, and really, you guys have come up with what I think is the best and most simple solution, because like you said, there is ways with the ride command on a non-ride command sled to connect with each other, the trail techs, whatever they're called. But those are, again, they're just as expensive as a satellite phone to have, right? So that's why I loved the product. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, works with your phone. It's GPS, which is amazing. And your mesh between them isn't like, you can talk about that. You guys can talk about the more techie stuff. I know your mesh isn't really Bluetooth. It uses like the long range stuff. Low frequency communication. And I was like, this is such like a perfect solution to the simple problem that is, I think, perfect for all riders. And because it's has nothing to do. You could be on a 1980s, 1990s sled and have one of these mounted to it. So we'll start with the pictures here. Yeah, well,
and talk about that, because my initial thinking was it's Bluetooth, and well, how can my comm, cough out at a kilometer distance, but this thing keeps going for like 16K, and that's my initial thing. Just looking at the unit was, oh, it must be Bluetooth. Yeah, tell everybody about what it is.
Yeah, for sure. So the big difference between the comms and what we're doing is that the comms, you're doing like voice, right? Voice requires like a high bandwidth, like you require a lot of data. So the comms, they use Bluetooth, which is 2.4 gigahertz, which is more like it's short range communication, right? And what they've done with the Cardos and the Sennas and the Uclear is that they've kind of modified that, put like a larger antenna, tried to boost that power, so you can have that, kilometer. I think they advertise like a kilometer range. For us, we see you kind of go over a hill and you're kind of cutting out already. Like you don't really get very far. But they still work well, but they don't work the best. Anyway, so with us, we're looking at that and we're like, okay, maybe we could do something with just Bluetooth. But then we found that really the range isn't enough. Really, I think for a solution, you need to have something that's a bit better. So that's where we found the it's the 915 megahertz, so it's an ISM band, so we're allowed to use that, and it penetrates. So essentially, it's a like instead the 915 is a very fast frequency. So when you're trying to penetrate through, say, like trees or foliage, it more or less reflects instead of penetrates. And with a longer wavelength like the 915, we're able to penetrate further. But the downside is that we're not able to send as much data. So we're still able to send your location, like text messages, but we're not able to like communicate as in talking with one another. So that's how it's a trade-off, right? Everything you can give or take, and for us, we decided that we're more interested in seeing the exact location of all of our friends and being able to like message them and send them notifications. And then once you find them, then you can talk to them. Like if someone falls behind or breaks down, you're more interested in finding them than talking to them and be like, oh, how's it going? Oh, why are you broken down? I'm just going to keep riding while you try to fix. Like you're not going to want to talk to them. You're going to want to find them, help them out, especially if they if their sled rolled on them or something else.
Yeah,
and I really like that point you made earlier. When you said new riders and especially things like girlfriends and wives. Like making a simple product so then if something does happen,
yeah,
when you toss the sled over, it's literally like you just hold the button down in the face of it and it goes move. Did you actually bring our units out to show, like physically?
He's got the units.
Oh, he's got the units to show. Perfect.
We've got the OG unit on the sled, but I think that the key thing that I outline in the video is it's for snowmobilers, it's got to be simple and easy to use, and it really is. And I mentioned it before, and I say it all the time to you, Lachlan. I keep kicking myself. We never used it at lodge sessions, and we will this year because it is something where you get a big group like that, you'll see it. And I think with the three symbols, and one is like alert, and one's one's like I'm stopping, and one's a help, and then one's SOS. You could actually tell your friends ahead of time, hey, if you see the square, this means just I'm okay. I'm just stopped to tie up my boots. Just keep going. I'll catch up. And you can tell them if you see the next one, they'll stop and wait up for me. And then the third one is turn around and come back and get me, right? Like you could create a verbal thing before you head out on the trail of what each of those three options
for sure
mean. And I think that's really cool.
What I was gonna mention, and Dan's gonna be annoyed with me at this, but in the future, we're going to have it so you can actually customize those. So those are kind of like your preset ones. You have the stop request, help request, SOS. But our vision is that you can actually customize not only like, kind of like the name to it, but also the symbol. Like we'll make like a little UI, like an interface where you can make your own symbol.
So you can select what light pop up when you hold down a certain period.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Could you make it look like you probably could make it look like it's giving the middle finger too, right?
Yeah, skull and crossbones, type of stuff like that. Like, there's definitely a lot of fun that we can have there. But right now we're trying to focus on the essentials and making sure that everything runs smoothly, and then we can start adding things on top like that. And for you guys getting it set up last year, I think one of they had the two hurdles. The one was with the mounts. I remember, because you had to have the two screws, and they were kind of finicky, so we adjusted Chinese that screws. And
I got big hands.
No, for sure. Well, you're supposed to mount it before you get out on the snow, but
for sure.
Yeah, you shouldn't mount it in a snowstorm in -25 with cold hands. It's
no,
I don't recommend
but we changed it. You guys saw it at the show too, where it's a simple thumb screw now, and you just pop it right off. And then the other thing is now, if you get the battery powered version, you don't even need to try to like plug it into your heated visor or anything. You just slap it down the handlebars, and away you go. So that's
what you gave us in the summer trying our dirt bikes, which
it worked really good. So and having the battery, you don't have to hook it in. It connects very flawlessly to the phone because we're already used to that with the app through the winter. So it's really neat. It's something that is a very short learning curve to figure it out, and you'll get that in my video because you see me catching on with it in real time pretty much. And by the time we hit that first corner, I was like, oh, okay, I get what this is. I understand what all the colored lights mean now. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool.
It really is one of those things that it seems like a cool idea, and then you actually go out and use it and realize that it's actually really useful. Even for us, when we were developing it, we're like, oh yeah, this is going to be really cool. In concept, it's a great idea, but then you get out and actually use it, or like a situation comes up where you actually need help, or you know, like when we were riding and Lachlan ran out of gas. When it presents a real situation where it comes in handy, that's when it suddenly clicks and you're like, wow, that actually is useful.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, that's very cool.
We actually had a conversation about that with our sleds. We're like, these are great, but only if I decide to go off trail, or if he puts it in the ditch, we're never going to use them. Because like with a modern reliable sled, you know, not going to be hitting that stop. I think SOS would be the only thing we're going to find useful for us.
No, but I mean, here's an example where my sled didn't start that one time we took off, and I think I hit the alert, right? Like you guys were ahead, you pulled away, my starter quit, and I could say like, just wait up, right? It took a bit to get it going, and then I caught up to you guys, and away we go. So yeah, it doesn't really, it's kind of neat, because you'll find, like you said, Dan, you'll find uses for it. Ron says Gary carried one in the Toronto show. It worked inside the building, you know, and it did.
Yep. Yeah, it did.
Yeah, TRAC
question mark there. Yeah, it seemed like I was at the booth, and then I was able to. It was actually really nice. And when people were coming up and they saw you moving on the map, I was like, oh yeah, that's Gary. He's just walking around with the unit. And then when you got all the way down to the far end, right, you said you're going to send the SOS, and we got that coming through as well.
And it tracked us pretty good, like on the map, even though you're in, you know, how many feet of concrete in that building, right? Like the GPS actually was able to drop a pretty good line of where we were walking around the show, which I was impressed with.
Yeah, and it scribbles you too. So you could have actually said, hey, Gary's over there, and they could send someone out, and they could have found me right away off of that. Again,
a little scavenger hunt
inside a building, inside the International Center. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just moving on, like the slides here. So yeah, this is just about like the group riding. I think, Dan, no, I don't think this is when you blew up your 850. This was
no, that is when I blew up the
850 side panel open, which is a rare sight. So it's either a blown belt or a blown engine.
No, the connecting rod left the block, and that's not where it's supposed to be. So.
Yeah,
and it was running perfectly, no problems, ripping along, and
two-stroke life.
We didn't even die aggressively.
We weren't even going fast. We were just cruising because we had like the 600, right? Like Thomas was with us. Like we were just going along, and then just smoke. It was just, you're like smoke screening us, and then you stopped abruptly.
Yeah.
Right, it was a smoke screen for a second.
That's an accurate description of what happened.
Yeah,
and there's a good example, especially that looks like Cochrane, is it? We
were about to head up the canyon.
And you get that gang could be long gone. You can signal them to that SOS, and they can turn around and get you. Whether your sled blows up, or you're in the ditch, or you have some other mechanical problem, that's where it's going to save your bacon.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, this side of the canyon too. Like this is like the straight side, because our plan was go up the straight side and then have fun going down the curvy side. So this side, we would have been just ripping, and Dan would have, like, it would have been, I don't know. Some of us aren't very good at looking behind to make sure everyone's there. So it could have been a little while. I was like, oh, wait a minute, where did Dan go?
Yeah, that typically happens. So
yeah. All right.
There we go.
Yeah. There's just a couple more little slides here of us up there in Cochrane, just getting the sleds all, having fun up there. And then I think the next one, I'm not sure if it's in. This was some shenanigans. Like Dan was on the right side there. Dan, we're doing stuff off trail, so obviously he's stuck. Not sure how you did that on a backcountry, but he did.
Snow was pretty deep.
Sorry, Dan. Yeah, I know. I'm just throwing you under the bus like that, right? And then obviously my rev was blowing belts, so that's a pretty common thing for those. I sorted out now. I fixed all that stuff, but no, that was me replacing a belt. So these are the type of things, like when we were like thinking about, how do we, for keeping track of your group, trying to find each other, you're running an issue, how is, what's the best solution for that? And really, like, it doesn't matter what sled you have. So yeah, I think the next one actually might be the really funny one, because I don't know if
Oh man.
it's it's the
Well,
worst
funny
case
for us
sit-
because it was none of our, it wasn't our groups.
yeah.
Oh, that's what you
And-
found this on the trail. So someone just left this here?
Yes. And if you
Yeah.
zoom in on this photo on the right side there, you see the side of the block. Guess what
Oh.
manufacturer?
Oh, we don't need to. I think I see Alaris on the edge of that block.
Yeah. It's
Oops.
a Polaris.
They all,
Not
Yeah.
surprised. They all burn.
it happens to a lot of brands. I think, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
First
does.
hand
I don't want to
experience,
just hate
yeah.
on Polaris, but
No.
actually the Skidoos are known for doing that too. But yeah, no, we were just riding along and we rode up
the
to
usual
this. It's
suspect.
still burning. No one was there to. It was
That's
just-
the horrible part.
Yeah, our friend's 1200 burnt like that, and all that was left was the disc brake,
Disc brake and a
the
pile
brake
of ash.
disc, yeah, and a pile of
Oh
ash.
no.
And in Canada, you have to go clean it up, or you can get fined, right, for environmental pollution or whatever.
Especially
it was.
when you're out in the boonies and somewhere
Yeah,
like this.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. I'm sure there too.
Oh, here's your booth and a
Yeah.
couple of the units you're seeing. Next. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
There you go. It's updating.
Yeah, so this was the first year, like last year at the show. This were like these were the like this was when we were trying to get feedback, like trying to just gauge, what people think. So we had a couple of the units there at that time. Like the app wasn't even on the app store. The app, like the hardware itself, we were still making. Like I think there's actually a photo here where Dan's like working on his laptop because he was actually at the show as we were getting feedback. He was making updates. Right? I think
Yeah,
I think
that's
one of the things
awesome.
like on
Yeah.
the map it shows like your buddies on the map, and it has like the direction, like it has like the arrow like where they're facing. And I think at the show was when we added that direction.
Yeah.
arrow.
Yeah.
Oh,
The arrow wasn't there at the start of the show. I added that while we were there. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like All Terrain TV asks a question. He says, my land doesn't have GPS or a starter, and radios only have a certain range or bad audio with our setups. Is this basically an FRS radio with the longer range?
So it's similar in between from device to device, you have a similar range as like a walkie-talkie. But what makes it a bit different is that it's actually a mesh network. So if you have like 5 people in a line, that it's going to jump from one to the next. So maybe everyone you might be like 20 kilometers apart from the guy at the back to the guy at the front, but you're still going to be able to stay in communication. Like if you have an issue at the back, the guy at the front is still going to see that notification come through because it's going to hop from everyone in the middle, assuming that everyone has a TrailLink. So
Yeah,
it
that's
hops
right.
from one to another. Yeah.
And it is LoRa. Can you talk about LoRa?
Dan, do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah. So LoRa just literally stands for long range. It's not a very creative name for the technology, but it uses radio frequency. Lachlan mentioned it's 915 megahertz. It's a cool technology in that it sort of buries the data in the background frequency. So you get longer range than you typically would have, hence the long range name. But yeah, you could compare it to, CB radios and things like that. It's in the same realm of range category, I would say. Just the nice thing about LoRa is you get similar range to some of those other technologies with much less power required. So obviously our devices are battery powered or plugged into the sled. Like you don't have a massive box with amplifiers and things in it and stuff like that to get the extra range. But from then it's really an antenna discussion, right? So everything is about antennas in the radio world. So if you mounted a 6-foot antenna, like in theory, you could put a 6-foot antenna on one of our devices and get a lot more range, but that's not practical on a snowmobile, obviously.
Yeah, true. All Terrain also has an 06 Rev as his new sled. There you go.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I wonder if mine's an 06 Renegade 800. So might have the same sled. It's a great
Very
sled. Hey,
cool.
the Rev, I've ridden my brother's G4 and also his fiance, wife's G4, and they don't. I swear I like mine better. Like I'm not just saying it because
Oh, come on.
I'm not just saying it, but
It's
Yeah,
I've ridden yours obviously, Locke, and it's if you're in it for handling, yeah, the older ones, the lower you sit, the closer to the ground. But if you're riding for a long time, your back is in a lot better shape on a newer sled for sure.
Yeah, well, one of the nice things with the '06 is that you got the SC4 skid in the '06 revs, so it's the one that was specifically designed for the rider forward whole
yeah.
idea, and it's yeah, but
Dan's on a
it is true.
backcountry too. Dan's on a backcountry too with the big lug track as well. So
146.
it's a little bit different of a comparison,
Yeah,
right?
it's quite a contrast to ride Lachlan's and then ride mine because his lower
Yeah.
down, wider ski stance. I've obviously a lot tippier, but my wife has a Renegade, so he's sort of calling out the Renegade as well. But
Yeah.
I would say that, you know, for a long ride, I would take the G4 any day. But if we're just going out for a quick rip on some twisty trails, I agree with you. Like the old ones, I'd go even older though, like an S chassis or something. Those are so much fun in the twisty, tight trails.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Yeah, assuming
No,
it's you're following the groomer, right? Because if you're not, you're gonna have
Well, yeah, you protect
Yeah,
the bumps out
yeah.
there.
yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Really smooth down the highway.
I think the thing that intrigues me about you two guys is you get along great for brothers, by the way. But the your backgrounds, right? We have this isn't happenstance that you guys created this product that's so good. And Lachlan's an engineer, and Dan is a map guy. And can you talk a bit about your backgrounds and what kind of impact they have on this product?
Yeah, I guess I can go first. So yeah, I like after school I started doing I worked for a company that was into robotics, and I did a lot of it was both like hardware and assembly, and also like what's the best word? Basically iterations. We'd iterate everything, right? And I learned a lot from that. And as I learned a lot about like actual hardware devices, like what you need, like the do's and don'ts in that world, because hardware is it's actually very difficult, especially in today's age where basically everything is made overseas. So if we're trying to make it here in Canada, our price point it's very difficult to be competitive. But that aside, it's a nice mix because I'm able to have that more hardware background, and then Dan can come in and he can share about his background where he's able to fill in the gaps and really bridge this whole hardware software mix and create TrailLink.
Yeah, I've been doing the software stuff for a long time now. Obviously, I didn't get into mapping actually until relatively recently, but I was always a developer before that. So, iPhone apps and stuff like that. So doing the software for this, including the firmware for the device, was like Locke and I have always been, we always have little projects and stuff like that. He's always the hardware guy, I'm the software guy. So it works out well. Although I wouldn't say Lachlan knows his way around the software as well, and I know my way around the hardware. So, but we each sort of specialized in one, and it works out really well.
Yeah, that makes a perfect team, right? You got someone that can engineer the product itself, and then the guy that can make the software to make it all tick.
Yeah, and
exactly.
it was kind of neat.
Yeah.
It was kind of neat because I think when we took them to lodge sessions, or when I got my hands on a unit in middle to end of February, I don't think breadcrumbs were being dropped on the map. Is that the feature that it was?
That was when we
Yeah.
went to lodge session. There wasn't, and then when you rode with them and did the
It was like
lock or
and I was
whatever.
like, yeah, I just like last
It was
night I
already
woke
there.
up in
Mhm.
the middle of the night and I actually added breadcrumbs to the devices, and it's like holy crap.
Yeah.
It just floors me that I think being such a small team, you're so hands-on that if customers have a request, it's something that can be added, virtually.
Yeah, we didn't just come up with this idea and then hire a consulting firm or a contractor or something to develop it. And the nice thing about that is you guys say breadcrumbs would be useful. We can just go add breadcrumbs to the app and then ship an update for it.
There's no bureaucracy going on here, right? I don't need to send it up the food chain. I don't need to sit down with executives and talk it through. It's more like I got to sit down with Dan and see.
Your engineer design that'll change the product by 5 cents doesn't need to go through a chain of command, right?
Yeah.
No, it's actually really nice. Like, that's one of the things I love most about this, is that I get to make I get to make those decisions where there's not someone that's trying to push me to make things cheaper, right? Because that's another big thing that's out there, is that everyone's trying to like penny pinching on every single thing. And for example, on the device, right, we have 2 USB-C ports on the bottom, and Dan and I we talked a lot about this, because there's a wide variety of USB-C ports, right? You can have ones that just break off, or you have ones that are in like your phone, which need to last like 20 million times, right? And we ended up that port, we determined that's it's going to see snow. Someone's going to shove their cable in there full of snow. That someone's going to abuse it, and we want to make sure that that's going to last. So that port, I made sure that we picked the port that has proper, it's IP68 rated, so it can be like fully submerged, if you're putting snow in there, and it's fully gold plated on the contacts. It's the proper port. That's just like, I know I'm getting into like very specific things, but those are the little things that you buy a device, something off Amazon, and you break the charging port off on it, and now it's garbage, right? Like, what are you going to do with it? So that's the type of things that we thought about with TrailLink. Like, on our initial testing devices, we looked at them. We're like, okay, maybe you're getting a bit of corrosion there. We got to fix that. We got to make sure that when people are actually using them, like someone, like when you're riding with these, you're in a way, like, we're not advertising it as like a life-saving device or anything like that. It's more just you're tracking your group, but we know that people will also kind of rely on this to keep in touch, right? They're gonna, it's sort of something that they want to rely on. So we know that it's important that they're gonna stay operating, no matter if it's -40 or if it's out during the summer or something. If you put on your backpack, you can take it hiking. We always want to make it not trying to penny pinch or have any big discussions with people where, oh, you can't do it this way, you got to do it that way.
Yeah, and the other nice thing is you've added some new features on the devices you had at the Toronto show that my portable device didn't have in the summer, but it's something you can push through the software updates to actually make them all backwards compatible.
Yeah, that's Dan, you can go. You can talk about that.
Yeah, the whole thing is designed to be like, we can update the firmware on the device, and we can update the app. So when we get, for instance, we were just at the Snowmobile show, and people were like, well, what if it had arrows for turn-by-turn directions, or I want to indicate that I'm making a sharp turn, so that it pops up on the rest of my group behind me so they know. Sure, yeah, those are all things that we can do, because the whole thing can be updated in the future. For now, obviously, as Lachlan said, we're focused on getting a reliable device out there, so we're not adding nice to haves like that at the moment, but we've got tons of ideas of things we can add to this in the future that we haven't even started looking at yet. So if you have one of these a year from now, 2 years from now, every season you'll probably find cool new things that it can do that it didn't do the day you got it.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah,
now, Lachlan, do you have a unit with you right now?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna put you large on the screen here. Someone asked to see the unit. If you want to, there you go. You're full size now. If you want to show kind of how that works.
Yeah.
Sorry. You can
Here, I'll show it to you, and then I got to go for just a minute here.
Okay.
This is what the unit looks like. This is the battery powered version, by the way, and it's here. I can just put my phone up beside it, and it's just about the same size as your phone, so it fits in your pocket. And then I have it connected on the bottom is the display. So this display right now, we're connected. It's kind of blowing out the colors on the LEDs, but it just basically shows the people in my group I know Gary, we're going to talk about this more later on, but we're doing some beta stuff on the firmware or the software, and Gary's going to show that off later. But just a minute though, I do have to go for
Yeah,
a
for
minute.
sure.
Here,
Yep.
but yeah, this is what it looks like, and
Yeah.
I'll be
Do we
back
still
in
have
a
one of
couple
those
minutes.
with us to show too?
No, it's on the sled.
Yeah,
actually.
I've got one here as well. So
Oh, there's the yellow one. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Perfect. And then Mike K says, Dan, is it licensed in the USA?
yes, the 915 megahertz band is a public band in both US and Canada. And the device is actually capable of other frequencies for Europe and Asia. The software doesn't enable that at the moment because we're only targeting North America for now. But if you bought one and took it to Europe, technically we could add a setting to the app where it's legal there as well.
Very
That's
cool.
cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, you want to go through that unit? Have you got the one that you're holding on to there?
Yeah, so this is the yellow one, Lachlan. But they come in a variety of colors. We're trying to let people buy them in colors so they can distinguish them, because one thing we learned having a pile of them on our desk is crap, which one's which. So they come in colors now, and the antenna on the top, obviously, you got a couple of lights on the top because of the colors. This one's blue and this one's green, but the way the camera's picking it up. Anyway, one light indicates the status of the battery. The other one indicates your color that you've got configured in the group. So I'm configured as blue. The bottom just got 2 USB-C ports and a power button. It's just a little stand, so it sits flat if you put it on a table without anything plugged in. Obviously,
Which I saw that when I was playing with that yellow one when we got those to try at the race, and I remember I was like, at first I was like, why is there a third nub? And it was actually, I sat down the table and I was like, oh, that's actually kind of genius, because when you have nothing plugged into it and your ports are all closed, it will stand vertically. I think that's
exactly
engineering little thing he did to that.
Yeah, we debated over that for a while. Same with just like the ridges on the side. You get into all those things.
Oh, it's better than being smooth.
You put ridges on it so it's grippy and whatever. So the top and bottom are a rubbery material, so you can bend the antenna. It's not going to get damaged.
TPU.
Yeah, TPU exactly. And this whole housing for the display is TPU on the back as well. And the mounts we're doing in TPU now, because you can sort of bend them over and everything when they're on the bars, and you don't have to worry about it.
Which is important, because if it's on something like your sled, I'm sure having a backcountry, anything that's rigid when it hits a tree will break, but anything that's flimsy will push out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just had a friend here, Simon, today popped in for a visit, and he said, I let my sled go on a ride on its own, and it went right into a tree.
Yeah, he's got a backcountry, and that's what he said. I let my sled go for a ride on its own, broke the brake reservoir off.
Which is
it happens for sure. So we've designed it to be as durable as possible, so that people can drop on the ground or catch on a tree, a stick or something like that. It'll probably be okay.
And the battery life of that unit, I don't think we charged it. And when Lachlan picked them up for the Toronto show, it was still charged. And we rode with them in the summertime, and that was August, I think, was our first ride with them. And then we were up to the cottage in September and October, and they were still charged up. It's one of those things where it's I don't know how long that battery lasts, but do you know?
So it depends really if you've got this attached or not. So without the external display, like if that unplugged, this on its own will last for almost a week continuously, 24 hours a day of use. With this attached, the brightness turned up, the app lets you control the brightness of this. And minus 20 or colder, you'll still get at least 18 to 24 hours out of it. So we spec the battery so that we're targeting snowmobiles for this product, so it needs to last in the cold. So the battery was spec'd so that if you've got the display, you got it bright because you're riding at night or something. I guess that'd be during the sun. You're probably going to turn it down at night. That it will still last. And
that's what Lachlan was talking about. The show was the batteries on 18650. The 18650 lithium ion cells. And when he said that, I'm an engineer as well. I just graduated this summer and I did automotive engineering. And when he said 18650, I'm like, this dude's putting the same thing they put in like Tesla and Ford Lightning battery packs, and Milwaukee, like your M18 and your DeWalt Power Stack, are all 18650 cells as well. And I'm like, damn, that thing's gonna last for. And it's right when he said a week, I'm like, that makes total sense. You don't need a lot of those to get the amp hour out of it. So
exactly,
it shows that you guys are really thinking about the sledder. Like it's not. I really hope that this comes across to the viewers of this podcast and the listeners that this is not some, cheap thing being designed to sell at a price to scam snowmobilers. This is a product made by two passionate sledders that had an amazing idea and are really thinking about the needs of the end user.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that. And I'll also just throw out about the battery. We chose the 18650 not just because it's plenty of battery life for this product, but also 18650s are mass market. We're using an LG cell in these, and we didn't want to ship something with a cheap little pouch cell that you got to worry about catching on fire and all kinds of concerns like that. So it's got thermal protection, it's got short circuit protection, and it's a brand name, big company, mass produced cell. So it's actually hard when you're a small business to try to find batteries that aren't 18650s or 21700s, like the cylindricals, because like obviously Apple for your iPhone or Samsung or whatever, and even they've had problems, they can get a flat pouch cell battery certified and run it through the paces for as much as needed to make sure it's safe. But to buy one off the shelf for your own product where you're sort of relying on the company producing it, it's a challenge.
Yep. And I think that's important. Like some people may not be up to speed with the modern tech, and the lithium technology, even compared to 4 or 5 years ago, is insane. Like it's why I'm gonna keep going back to Milwaukee and DeWalt. Like their batteries are so insanely powerful now. Like I bought the new Stubby impact gun last year, and with a battery this big, it'll do 550 pound of torque bust off and last an entire day of use. So it's very important that people also know that you're using these cells because they're so proven. Because I don't know if some people would be like, oh, well, why are they not just making their own, right? Sort of thing. But you're right. The certification for batteries is ridiculous now.
Yeah,
as well.
We'll talk about the price per unit. All Terrain TV asks, is the price per unit on the website, or does it come with multiple units, and does it now work with Android? We'll talk about pricing and stuff in a bit, but the operating systems, what does it work on?
So in the App Store at the moment is the iPhone app. On my Pixel phone right here is the beta of the Android app. So the Android app is not on the store yet, but it's my goal to get it out in the store before Christmas. So before most people in Ontario will see any snow, or at least enough snow to really go for a ride. Right on.
That's good. And talk. Do you have pictures of the app, or do you have? Can you demo the app by sharing a screen or something like that, or?
I don't have a screen sharing setup.
Lachlan shared some older pictures of the app. Oh, there it is right there. Yeah, this is an example of it. We have actually a picture here. We'll pull up now. I think this is just showing the breadcrumbing and the.
Yeah.
That's it there. And then when you swipe up, I don't know whether we just got the swipe up on there yet, but yeah, I'm running.
You should have joined it with this.
Oh, here we go. Here, let me pull you up here again. There we go. So when you swipe up on that map, yeah, I can see that good. You can see the devices that are connected. You can scroll around the map, and it there you go. TrailLink yellow. It shows your unit on there. So it's actually probably hard to imagine or hard to see when you're sitting at home, but it's very intuitive in that sense. And on my app, I'll just go like that. On my app, you've got the SOS, the alert, and then the just the regular alert. You've got the help, and you've got SOS on there. I can tap those and send alerts out to Dan right now. So if I hit the center button here, it says request sent, and he should be getting one there on his end right now.
Yep, I will in just a couple moments, I expect. I've got my app turned to low refresh setting too, because we talked about we're doing the beta on this live,
Yes, great.
or the network-based version. So there we go. There's your help
Oh, that's
request
cool.
there coming
That's
through.
And it's
awesome.
red because that is in his app. He's set to red, so that's why
Yeah.
it's coming up as red here.
And then I
Yeah,
can just
so
tap
on
and
here
cancel.
you can see MUDBRATS, and we got the little help icon there. And at the top, it also
I just
says help
canceled it, but then I can
requested.
go hold that up there. Yeah. I did cancel that out, but if you want to hold your phone up, it's slower right now, right? So if I hit the SOS,
Yeah,
says
so
on
the
my
online, like we're
SOS
obviously
requested.
too far apart to be connected
Yeah.
with the unit itself. So the online service is what we're beta testing right now, and it is slower on the events. I finally got the update that you turned it off, and then in a few more moments it'll come on with the SOS you're sending.
That's pretty cool.
So that's what we're working on. That'll be an update for the app. So if you've got someone that doesn't have a TrailLink physical device, or the idea also being that sometimes people ride in and out of cell service. So maybe your group is sort of spread. There we go. There's the SOS there now.
Yeah, perfect. Yep. And it's a lot faster when the devices are near each other and it's instant. Like it's boom.
Yes, it's effectively immediate when they're within range.
Yeah.
And it will be once the network version is finished too. It's just slower at the moment. But it will be faster than that.
Another thing that we didn't quite get to. Nothing we didn't quite get to with the app is the fact that it's also got a built-in like private chat between your group when you make them on the app, which I think is kind of cool. You can like, there's how do you do that on here? Oh, that little button,
a chat button,
just right there above that. There's a chat button, and it just says group messaging is currently in beta. But yeah, you can send messages as well to the group that you're joined, which is pretty cool. And your little refresh there. Oops. And your bubble even comes up in the color that you've selected on the app, which I think is pretty cool.
It's very cool. I had a Motorola radio that had a similar app, but the range on the radio was not great. We were better off just using our phone, but that's where we actually had service. So in this case here, with Laura, if you're together, you don't need cell service.
Yeah, and that question is exactly
you can
why
actually,
we're adding
like,
the network-based back end to it as well. So when you are in cell coverage, your range is effectively unlimited. So the app will continue to work. You'll still see everybody's location, and when people have cell service, there's no limit to that distance. So it sort of gets you both advantages. You've got the advantage of unlimited range with cell coverage, and when you go out of coverage, your device takes over, and you get that off-grid connectivity too. So that's why we're working on adding that right now.
Very cool. Hi, Lachlan. Welcome back to the show.
Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry about that. I had to step away for a minute.
That's all good.
No problem. No problem.
We just kind of showed off the app a little bit, and then what the unit looks like, and just kind of going through the photos here.
Nice. Yeah, I had these photos. These are more supposed to show how the app looked about a year ago. These ones, Dan is probably looking at it, and he's saying like these are old photos, and that was just because we're gonna see there's some newer photos as well. What it has progressed to, because you'll see here if you just go back for just 1 second. I don't know if Dan, did you talk a lot about it? But you'll see like where it says group members, it just purely like shows your group members, like their names. And like when it last updated, it doesn't give you any more like information. It doesn't give you like how far away they are from you when it was last, their speed, their heading. Like you'll see on the current app, there's a lot more information that tells you even like their signal strength and stuff like that. So there's been a lot of changes, and that was just in like I guess about a year now, and total time from when this release compared to what we currently have, and they've been, it's been a lot. Anyway, yeah, we can continue going through the slides though, for sure. So yeah, at the show last year, we had a lot of feedback because we didn't actually have the display. Like I think Dan probably showed the display maybe, or I showed it briefly. Yeah. We were talking about the different like animations, different, showing like arrows. And at the first show, we didn't actually have that done. We on the units had a connector for an external display, but at the time we didn't actually know what that would look like or what it would, what it would be. So this was just shots. This was between the Toronto show and the Peterborough show where I was designing it, and the right photo there, that's actually like literally like iteration after iteration. I think there's probably like 8 versions of it sitting out on my table there where I was making tweaks, change. And I think currently the current version of that display is probably like version like 25 or something, and that's where we basically ended it. Like we're very happy with how it works now. Like even the ones that you guys had at the launch session, I think you guys were saying you liked how it clicked, that sort of thing. But the new ones, like the ones that they work it's even better, right? Because the whole idea is that the display doubles as a button, so you can press it really easily, and we know that if you have your gloves on, you just want to be able to fat thumb it basically. You don't want to have to think about pressing it. You just want to put your thumb on it and feel it click and know that it's working as it should. Right? We want to make sure it can't freeze up. We want to make sure that's not gonna none of those sorts of issues that you can see with the button that we wouldn't have in this, where it's watertight, won't freeze, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. If someone, so you have a group, and let's say you have 3 or 4 of these units, and can someone join the group on their phone only? And so let's say you have 4 units and you have 8 riders. Can you have 8 people in the group and 4 of them on their phone and 4 of them with TrailLink?
Like the unit.
So with the web-based backend we're working on, that's the idea. So if you've got a couple of guys without the unit and you want them to join the group, maybe you got your wife is at home, you want her to be able to track your progress. Obviously the cell connection is required for those people to see the updates, but that's exactly what we're targeting with this update.
Very cool.
Yeah. There's a bunch of really cool things too that we could do in terms of, and Dan's, he's not gonna like it when I say this, but like if you go out of, so for example, maybe you're the one at home and you're trying to view your group's ride, and they go out of cell coverage, so they stop updating, and then they come back into cell coverage. I want it so once they come back, it's going to backfill their route, so you're going to be able to see exactly where they went, even in those areas where they didn't have cell coverage. So it's a big, like, just doing that, like that sort of feature is actually massively difficult on back end, being able to handle knowing which locations were sent to the person that's at home versus which weren't sent. When do they go into cell coverage? When do they come back out? There's a lot that has to go into that, but those are the type of things that we've been thinking about and we want to implement into this sort of system. Like, we're talking about it right now. Like we're talking about from a year. So we talked about it last year. We showed you what we had. We're a year in. And the nice thing is that all these features that we're talking about, like if you have a device today, you're going to be able to update it, and it's going to be able to have all these new features that we want to add as well. Right? We're trying to make it as backwards compatible as possible, because that's another thing that happens these days, is that you go out, you buy something, and then next year it's obsolete. Like they don't support it anymore. I don't know, like the Skidoo. I don't know if I want to. Skidoo, I think they don't update their. I was gonna, you know what? I don't need to go down that road. Like, we all know that there's situations where you buy something and then something new next year's model comes out, and all of a sudden your stuff is basically not updated anymore. You don't receive updates.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Planned obsolescence is what it's called.
Pretty much. Yeah. So in this photo, by the way, this was just showing, like, this is my desk where I do, like, when Dan and I say that, like, it's the two of us that are developing this, like this is us. Like this is my monitors here. I doing like the circuit board. I have it up on the side. Then I have like the 3D printer. So all the stuff, all like the housings. I don't know if Dan really touched on it, but all of the enclosures, they're all 3D printed, and it's actually, like, 3D printing's come a long way. Like, I don't know, before 3D printing kind of got a bad rep for not being the strongest of materials, but what we're printing out of is either it's like polycarbonate, which is what they make like hard hats out of. The latest material that we've been using is like a carbon fiber reinforced filament, so it actually has, like, it's not only lighter weight, but it's also even stronger. And then we also have that flexible filament that allows things to be able to flex even in like negative 20 degrees. So it doesn't, instead of like snapping, like we all know plastics break, you know, you have a brush in with a, you know, something when it's cold. If you maybe you tap your sled against a tree or something when it's cold, your plastics are more likely just going to crack right off instead of flexing. So we wanted to make sure that the materials that the devices are made of are you know, nice and strong. Anyway, yeah, we can keep going from this slide.
You want to take a break and just talk about the people in the chat, and we're just gonna go through the chat and read out a couple messages and say hello to the people, and then we'll get back to you. But I just want to say that Al Thompson from the Ontario Snowmobile Oval Racers, he messaged me today and said, make sure you mention that Sledorama is this Sunday in Peterborough, and Ontario Snowmobile Oval Racers will be there. And that's Al Thompson. He's going to be on the podcast in a few weeks. So, make sure you go and pop by and say hi to Al. Ontario Snowmobile Oval Racers, and they are amazing to chat with. And you got to check out the sleds they bring on site. It's and speaking of custom design and engineering, it's pretty incredible the stuff they're doing with carbon fiber clutches and all that jazz. It's pretty cool. So we'll get back in. Who do we got in the chat there, Drew?
Oh my gosh, it's we took so long. I need to use your computer because my phone isn't even loading all the messages because of how long we've been going for. Not even that's going to show me all the messages because the log from YouTube is so.
There we go.
Oh my gosh, good Lord, guys. Usually we try to do this. We try to do this usually a few minutes into the podcast, and this is what we get, I guess. So in the chat tonight, we have Wisco Sledheads. He says, what's up? Gabriel You says, I'm excited for this podcast. Ron Kesselut's in the chat. We have Lapoinski 800R. Of course, Jacob Massard, as always, says, good afternoon, everyone. Uncle Buck says hello. Ron Kestelut says, what's up? Corey Brock's in the house as always. Patrick and Carrie Shell says, cheers from Sudbury. Like, good to hear from you guys. Outdoor Hobby Guy, I don't know if he was here watching us last week, but good to hear from you again. Elder Santos says, good evening, everyone. All Train TV says, just remember to tune in for the season. It's okay. We won't hold the last show against you. Robert Reinhardt is in the chat. Keith 63060 says, hi, Gary and crew. Who else? Brian Lynn says, hi, everyone, from Slush Lake. We got Redneck's Dirty Hands. He'll be there at Sledorama on Sunday as well. I'm fairly certain he'll probably make that show, considering he skipped out on the main sled show this year. Mike Goulet's Motorsport Channels in the chat tonight said he was stuck in his shop. One of his kitties had a litter of kittens, so he's stuck in the shop. Said there's worse places to be.
Outdoor Hobby Guy?
I already said Outdoor Hobby Guy.
You did great. Perfect. Steve's in the house.
Right.
And again, William McCleary, he jumped in and he messaged me last week and he said, I just caught the replay. And there's a few guys that did that.
Rob Overholt.
Yeah, they just caught the replay.
Mike K. He asked the question of if it was licensed in the U.S., which we got to. Brian Wheeler says, ask what's up with Peterborough this Sunday to Pete. I don't know if Pete said he was having a few whiskeys. Maybe he's already passed out. Didn't make it that long.
No, he can go longer than this. That's for sure. And that is actually brought to you by, we got to get these media assets up here.
Is that the right one?
That's not the right one.
No.
Tired of dealing with worn out carbides and scratchers that just won't scratch your itch? You deserve better. It's time to upgrade your ride with QUALIPIECES. QUALIPIECES is the leader in specialized snowmobile accessories, bringing you innovative products that solve the everyday problems we all face on the trails. From their durable, long-lasting carbides, Trailblazer ice scratchers, to their ingenious roller ski, QUALIPIECES has redefined quality and performance. Have a taste of their specialized carbides at QUALIPIECES.com and take your snowmobile to the next level. And thank you for that, QUALIPIECES. Yeah, there we go. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and we're with for those just jumping on the show or listening in your car, we have Dan and Lachlan from TrailLink joining the show, and they're talking about this awesome little system for buddy tracking on your snowmobile.
Back to the photos, I guess.
Yeah, we'll add these photos back in and away we go.
I believe this is a picture of the first iteration with the screen, I'm going to assume.
Yes. Yeah. Dan, do you want to talk a bit about this one?
Yeah, we were out for a ride to test it. I think this was a couple iterations down the line from the first one, but early nonetheless. After this ride is when I decided that I prefer it. I actually now have it mounted on I used to have the glove box extension there. I now mount it right up there, the display part. So I'd mount the display part on one side of the phone mount and the device on the other side. So in the line of sight, you can see who's connected to your group at a glance. So this was sort of our first test ride, I think, with the display.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was pretty early. Sorry for interrupting you, Gary, but I was just going to say it was pretty early in the season. I think the trails open and then they all closed again or something last year. I don't know if you remember that, Dan. We got out. We were lucky to get out a little bit, and then it got warm. And I remember someone got stuck in the ice or something. I don't know if you remember that. There was someone that was stuck on one of the trails. And then they opened up more. More later in January. Then we had the massive snowfalls and stuff like that.
What a great season for your first year to test this product, right? You got a lot of time on the trails, I'm sure.
Yeah, we got a ton of time.
Yeah, it was a great winter, absolutely. Hopefully this one's the same.
Yeah. Actually, if you just go back to that last shot there, it's kind of neat. You relocated if you watch my video on TrailLink where we went for a ride together, Dan's relocated that alert button and screen to the dashboard of his glove box there. So it's right in the line of sight. But also too, if you notice, he's got the cell phone mount, which I also run on the XRS. And it's neat because I have the BRP Go app running in the foreground, or if you choose to run OFSC in the foreground, you can run the TrailLink app behind it and switch between the two. So if you want to see just the guys in your group and dropping breadcrumbs, you can just keep the TrailLink app running, the map up. Or if you want to do turn by turn or see the actual snowmobile trails in their accuracy, you can just open up the OFSC or BRP Go in the foreground and have that one running silently in the background.
Yeah, and really for the guys following, the TrailLink app is really helpful because of those breadcrumbs. So you don't even have to worry about turn by turn if you're not the lead guy. You just follow the breadcrumbs of the guy in the front and you're good to go.
Yeah, doesn't get any more accurate than that.
Exactly.
So there's actually a good shot of one of that's the stop signal, the I'm stop signal. I guess that somebody, I don't know if you sent that or if that's being sent to your unit, but that's a good shot of that. So that's just a good example of one of the indicators.
Yeah, yeah, the square.
There's where he relocated his unit. Sorry, yeah, go back. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, the square just is supposed to be like, representing like I want to stop, so maybe you have to go to the washroom or you're just a little fatigued or something like that. Then you see a square show up. I think when Dan's sled was falling apart, when his A-arm was falling off, he was sending us a lot. I don't know if you remember that.
I had to stop and tighten the A-arm bolt several times. So yeah, the stop was handy for that particular situation.
Yeah,
still have to resolve that before the snow falls, or more than it
was falling.
Well, you know what? And that's the thing. It's like, because I was such a newbie to the technology, it was there was a one time, and I say it in the video, I didn't hold anything back in that video, is like I wasn't looking at the device when we first started using it. Do you remember that? So you sent an alert for me to that you were stopping, and it took me a while to see it. I was out of comm range, but the TrailLinks were still well connected, and then I'd stop and go, and I'd wait, and then you guys would catch up, and it's like, but by the end of the day, you just innately, you're not even thinking about it, you're just glancing down, and I was getting them right away because it was like I wasn't even thinking about, I wasn't making an effort to look at it. It's just subconsciously your mind goes to it. So it's almost like checking your mirrors on your car when you're driving. You're just kind of glancing and you get them right away. So I just had to point that out. It becomes very intuitive and it's almost like a natural connection to it, right?
Yeah, it does take. I think it took for me at least an hour or so of riding, and then it was yeah. It's almost like checking your mirrors or your speed or your temperature or whatever. Just a quick glance and you know what's going on.
I like the. Will alert Gary when the crows unzip his tunnel bag and drop a pin.
And the crows.
The darn crows keep unzipping my tunnel bag, and I lose everything on the trail. So, yeah.
Oh, geez. Oh, there's where the shot that we were looking for. He
Yeah, for
relocated
sure.
his TrailLink unit.
Yeah. Ron Kessler says, "How do you select the stop signals?" You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So I can show it right here, actually, just on the unit.
Yeah, let's do that.
So basically, the whole unit is like, it's a big button. So when you have it mounted up, it mounts on the back here. There's the threaded insert, so you can mount it up with a couple different mounts that we have. So this would be hard mounted at the back, and then you simply press and hold on the display, and then it'll cycle through the different alerts. So as you just saw there, it cycled through. If it first goes to the stop, and then the help, and then the SOS, and then you release on the alert that you want to send. So since I released it on the SOS, which is all red, everyone else in the group should be receiving that. I think Dan, you can probably show his display. He's gonna see that there's gonna be like a red SOS coming through from my unit. And then I can stop sending that, and then it just goes back to your home screen after that. So if I wanted to just send the help or the stop, then you just click and hold and release. And then
so that's what you would probably use the square for, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there
a beer stop button or
stop? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's where the
Massart was asking if they can get me a custom one that has a twisted T symbol for the stop instead.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that going back to the comment at the show, and is it a great idea? Yes, where you could, hey, can I punch up to say I'm turning left or right or whatever? I think that kind of is defeating the purpose of what it is. And I think once you ride with it, the simplicity of the three options is genius. And we're joking around with the cigarette stops and the beer stops and stuff, but let's say you wanted to say, hey, listen, when I have the first square, it's a minor signal, right? You could say, hey, listen, when I put a square up, let's stop for a cigarette break, right? Like you could tell your buddies that before you head out, and then you're driving along and someone's 10 kilometers ahead and they see that square. It's like, oh, I'm going to wait. We're going to stop for a smoke, right? Like
smoke break.
I think having three options out of the gate makes it simple, because you don't want to sit there and overcomplicate it either and confuse people on what it means.
That's what I asked the guy. I said, okay, so how do we have the person, select that they're turning left or whatever? You got to, double click 3 times. And so maybe in the future we'll use the phone's gyro to detect that you've made a sharp turn and then let everyone else know automatically or something. And that's something we could do. And then, the 3 options, we think of it as stop is I'm just stopping. It's not an emergency, so you can stop, or maybe you don't stop. That, like when Lachlan and I go ride. Help, the exclamation point, we usually like, you should probably turn around and give me a hand, because that's why I'm saying help. And then the SOS would be, I've crashed into a tree or something, and
and that means get the GoPro out, and that means get the GoPro out, turn it on,
right.
start recording.
Yeah. No, and I think that's the thing, that you don't really need much more information on your handlebars. I mean, if you again, you've got, obviously you're in the tech, so you've got a phone and maps and whatever else running. So this is just another way of getting a long range message out. And even if you do stop, I wonder where Lachlan is. And even if you didn't have an alert, I can call up my map and go, oh, he's coming. He's just three corners behind, and you're zipping along. And it's not an emergency, because you're having the time of your life on the trails, and I'm way ahead, and I'm just wondering where you are. And it's that's kind of cool.
Well, one of the big things that I found, at a glance, was like, so back on the, as I kind of call it, the home screen, is you have your color at the top. So right now my unit's set to, it's like a darker blue, and then I have the 2 other group members here. Like I have the red one and the blue one. So right now Gary has his phone just set to red, and Dan is set to like a lighter blue. And then beside their colors is like their connection status. So it's hard to see here, but right now it's saying that Gary's online, and that Dan is actually, he's offline. So I'm not sure. I don't know if Dan's phone is, maybe your internet connection there is a little weak, but I'm not. It's saying that my last update from you was 2 minutes ago. It shows that on my phone too. It tells you like when your last update was. But something really nice is that when you're out on the trail and saying that maybe you're the guy in front, right? Like you're the leader of the pack. If you start seeing people go red, like you'll oh, and Dan Larry just came back online there. If you see someone go red, then you glance down, you see they're red, you see that they lost connection. So you're gonna maybe slow down a bit. Maybe you've gotten too far ahead, and like the rest of the pack, you're leaving them behind. So you slow down a bit, and you'll see like they'll automatically remesh. So if you go out of range, come back into range, you don't need to mess around. You don't need to you don't need to do anything. It automatically joins them back in. And if you slow down and they're still red for like, I don't know, like a minute or two, then you know, like, okay, they've clearly gone out of range for a period of time. Let me slow down, let me pull over, and I'll pull up my phone, and you'll still be able to see their last known location, speed, and direction on the map. So at that point, you'll see, oh, Jim Bob, he turned off right on the trail. He's going up the wrong trail. And then you'll be able to loop back around, and you'll be able to follow his breadcrumbs, at least where you last saw his breadcrumbs, because obviously if you go to range, you won't get all of his breadcrumbs, but you'll be able to loop back around, and once you go back into range, it'll automatically reconnect you. So it's really nice being able to just, if you're the leader of the pack, you just glance down, you see everyone's connected, no one's sending any stop or help, you just keep going. You come up to a stop sign, instead of bunching up the pack at every single stop sign, you just look down, everyone's connected, I'm good to go. And we ran this, like Dan and I, we ran it with a bunch of different people. Like we ran it with Gary, some other groups too. And once you start using it, it just becomes intuitive. It helps. Like instead of like sitting there at a stop sign, looking around behind you, waiting like a couple minutes, making sure everyone's still there. It's probably one of the biggest things actually I really like about it, is that you just know, like just by a glance, everyone's connected. Your whole group's there. You don't need to be worried about it at a stop sign. Anyway, I'll stop ranting about that for a second.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. BAM Custom says, what permissions will the app require to be fully functional?
The app.
Yeah.
So the app, it just needs your location. So it needs location permissions, and it needs Bluetooth permissions because it connects to the device with Bluetooth. The app currently, there's no account. Doesn't even collect your email or anything like that. In the future, when we have the more networking based features, they might need an account in order for you to sign in and view your saved rides or whatever. But the off-grid tracking requires only location from your phone and Bluetooth from your phone. So those are the two.
And I trust these two not to steal my information either, so that's good. I'm talking to the guys that run it. They don't want my information.
Yeah,
not like
I don't want to know where you go.
No, exactly.
It's even more like these days with people getting hacked and data breaches and things like that. We're gonna collect as little as possible because we're just two guys. We don't want to deal with having to worry about our.
You don't have a server rack that can hold 20,000 terabytes of user data.
Yeah, exactly. We add some online features. There may be some more stuff there, but the basic, like the app as it is on the App Store right now, doesn't take any of your information. You set a name, but that name is just the name that gets transmitted to everyone in your group. We have no idea what that name is. And yeah, you'll also get asked if you want to allow notifications, and that's so if the app's in the background, it'll give you a notification, lost so-and-so, or you received a help request. That's optional.
Well, and that's the thing, if you're concerned, you can shut off your location on that app when you're not using it. And then when you go to use it for the next ride, turn it back on, right? That's what I do. We did have a question come through the Facebook group, and it's, is there a maximum number of people you can have in a group?
I think the theoretical limit, something like 250. I think you would run into practical issues a lot sooner than that. We've tested with groups up to about 10, and it's been pretty good. What happens is the mesh gets more and more crowded. So at higher numbers of people in the group, you'll just see a bit slower updates of their location and things like that. But in theory, you could have 20, 30 people using it, and it should still continue to work. Just you'll get a little bit, you think of it like a slow internet connection, but it's really just that your whole mesh is crowded with everybody's device saying, hey, I'm over here, I'm over here.
Yeah.
So just to put it like some real world context. So right now, what we usually see is that with like 3 or 4 people, you can reliably get updates every 2 seconds, thereabouts, 2 or 3 seconds. With the group of 10, I think we tested actually up to 12, and it was around 10 to 12-ish seconds that you would have to wait between updates, which is still like it's magnitudes quicker than many other, like most tracking systems that are out there update like once a minute max, right? Once a minute,
Wow.
twice a minute. Like an AirTag, for example, like some people are like, oh, this sounds like an AirTag. It's like AirTags update like once every half hour, once every hour. And that's assuming that you're within cell range and within an iPhone. So AirTags, it's completely different. But yeah, for us, we're updating very fast. Even within those larger groups, you still get updates every 10 seconds or so, 10 to 15.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Comment here. I'm not sure if I understand it. It was kind of replying to Bam in the chat. Should not need to know phone's location, which runs down battery faster.
I think he's referring to the fact that because it has to connect to your phone's battery will drain because the app has to run in the background. I think is what he's getting at.
That's a fun question. The device doesn't have a built-in GPS of its own. Well, TrailLink Go, so the battery-powered one, does have a built-in GPS radio of its own that will enable in the future when I get around to doing a software update for it. But the initial intention of TrailLink was for it to be as cheap as possible, because obviously you need everybody in your group to have one in order for it to be effective. So the non-battery powered model doesn't have a built-in GPS antenna. It uses the GPS from your phone. And that was an intentional decision so that the hardware could be as cheap as possible. And the other advantage of that is most modern phones have a better GPS antenna than you're going to get in most aftermarket hardware. Like an iPhone from the last few years has a dual frequency GPS that's extremely accurate. So you get that high precision location data, and then it gets transmitted through. So you could think of the TrailLink as just a modem for your phone. So your phone's doing the location. And yes, there is the argument that it used your battery a little bit faster. The reality is your display on your phone is what's really going to drain your battery. So if you've got your phone off, like with the screen off in your pocket, you won't notice the GPS too badly. Like there will be impact to your battery, but if you've got it mounted on your dashboard or something like that, you probably have a way to power it anyway. That's our logic. And as I mentioned, the TrailLink Go does have a built-in GPS. So once we get some time to do a firmware update, you'll have the option to use one or the other, depending on your battery situation. Because obviously then this will use battery faster. So you can pick how you want to use your battery.
If you have the TrailLink Go, can you plug it in while you ride as well to have it charging if you're worried about battery life? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I really like Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I really like All-Terrain's comment he just put, which is like, you'll really need to know the colors of the large group. Colorblind Ricky is kind of screwed, but we know where he's at. LOL.
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately, the display does kind of rely on people to be able to distinguish colors, and you'd have to go through your group and choose colors that the colorblind guys can see, I suppose. We don't have
maybe make
a
it
real
be you can
solution
pattern
for
it
that
or
at the
something in
moment.
the future. Have like a gradient or something.
You do see the shapes though, which is the real key to it, right? Like
Yes, the
there's
notifications are a unique shape, so you would know for sure.
Yeah, and Bam says most of us have phones plugged into charge cable anyways, unless it's BRP with the dang USB phone bag that keeps disconnecting.
The one thing that I'll jump in on that with the GPS. So one of the other big things about having the GPS built into the TrailLink Go is that you can then, if you have someone that doesn't have a phone, like we had at the show, one of the biggest reasons why someone's like, oh, I don't want to use this is because they don't actually use a smartphone. So if you have people in your group that aren't tech savvy, this is something like this is way down the road. Like, I don't know, next year we want to release this update, but you'll be able to set up the TrailLink on like your phone. You'll be able to set it up and then disconnect your phone from it, put it on his sled, and you'll still be able to monitor him from your app. You'll still be able to see where he is. He can still send alerts from his sled, but it's completely, there's no phone connected. It's working completely solo from your phone because it has that built-in GPS. It has those settings saved from your phone when you set it up. So that's kind of the big thing that we're trying to future proof that. So that's why I'm saying when we're talking about being able to release updates, like we don't on the website, we don't actually talk about TrailLink Go having built-in GPS, right? Even though it is there's a GPS it is built into this, but we don't actually talk about that because we don't want to start getting people's hopes up. Now I'm talking about it here, so we're not trying to get people's hopes up about having that functionality yet, but it's something that we're gonna be like Apple. You probably don't know this, but back in the day when Apple released like the 3GS or something, like one of their initial iPhones, they didn't say it had Bluetooth, and then they rolled out an update allowing you to connect Bluetooth devices to it. And people are like, "What? Like, how did you do that? Like, how is this even working?" And it's because they put in that hardware into the device, just not having the software ready yet. And that's basically what we're doing here with the Go version, where you can have that built-in GPS. So you can even you can clip it on your dog or something, and if you're going out hiking with it, then you can track your dog, that sort of thing too.
I like that for also riding, because I got a buddy of mine who only has like really old sleds. So it'd be kind of nice that if I had me and my dad's unit, I was just going out with just him, because he wouldn't want to run a phone on that and drain his phone battery maybe or something. Then I can just set it up on my phone, which is on my dash plugged in, pass him the unit, disconnect it, have my unit, and then you're still meshed together. I do really like that. That'll be good when you guys get that sorted out.
On some older sleds like that, like I was just thinking about the SRX, right? Some older sleds, is there any, how some of the ignition used to interfere with some electronics? Like, is that a thing anymore, or is that solved with new electronics and technology?
From like interference and stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard about that. Like some Bluetooth communicators. I mean, because this all be if the long range has this issue, but like some Bluetooth communicators on some sleds, like older things from the 90s, will actually not work because something to do with like the CDI boxes and something. The way that the frequency comes out when it pulsates, it actually interrupts the Bluetooth signal. I've heard about that.
Yeah. I might be dating myself though on that.
No, I think right? No, I know. You're not telling a lie. That's a truthful thing.
Yeah. Honestly, we haven't been able to test that since we're running at a completely different like frequency than Bluetooth. It may not interfere, but there may be other, like from older sleds. Like with newer sleds, there's a lot more regulations, right? There's a lot more regulations on what you can unintentionally radiate from your snowmobile or from any device. So newer sleds won't have any of these issues, but yeah, there might be older sleds that do have some sort of interference with that. But I would say it's probably very, very rare because of the way that the frequency that we use, and it's a sped spectrum modulation that it's doing. There's a lot that goes on behind the hood that allows you to have this long range and at the lower power. But it is an interesting question that you raise about that. I haven't heard about it.
It worked fine on his 89 and my RM 125, like my 94 RM and his 89 DT Yamaha. So I mean, like maybe it's probably fine, but that is an interesting point. But it's probably, I wonder if that's to do with the frequency of Bluetooth is a lot higher than the long range stuff. So it could actually be something to do with that as well. But
yeah, just a thought. I don't know,
yeah, Bluetooth would be a lot more susceptible to that sort of thing.
Yeah,
for sure. And I saw the question popped up briefly about you don't need cell service with your phone for the GPS to work.
It's just that's a lot of
no need to worry about that.
It's kind of a shame that things like BRP Go will rely on cell service when your phone has an amazing GPS that they could just make it run off of. But they got to sell you a GPS module for your sled. So
yeah.
This is kind of cool. Where like when I first originally seen the unit before, and even playing with it before actually putting it on my handlebar. You want to talk about this? We're looking at a photo of the app, and it actually has the group colors and the members in there. That's it. It's a non-resistor spark plug. Yeah.
Oh, so that probably wouldn't be a problem because I think every spark plug you buy, because it's BR980S or 90S for pretty much every single two-stroke anything. So it probably isn't a problem.
All Terrain TV says the interference is mostly from a non-resistor spark plug. My bike would make my TV flicker when I drove past the house. It was sick.
Make your wife or girlfriend pretty mad with that one every time.
Hallmark movie? Not again.
Get the 250 out. We're going for a ride today.
Yeah.
That's a funny one for sure.
Oh,
that's
man.
Cool.
Anyway, sorry, Dad.
Yeah, so this slide, Dan, do you want to talk about it or should I?
No, you go ahead, Mike.
All right, yeah. So the slide basically just shows how, with your group members, basically how that translates to what you're going to be seeing on the display. So, you just have your color at the top. So, sometimes you might forget what you are. So we're like, we'll let you know. We'll put your color at the top there, and then it displays each of your group members beneath that. Up to, I think we can fit 5 group members on the display. And then we're planning on having it so it's cycled through your group members if you have more than 5 other people in your group. So if someone disconnects, then that person will be cycled up to the top. So you immediately see that, the orange guy, for example, may be disconnected. And then in the app, I can show it here. Just like it's kind of hard to see it, but I can, like you're able to select your color from like a gradient. You can actually, choose any, RGB colors. So there's many colors that you can choose when you're setting up everyone's device. So everyone can have their own unique color. If you do have like 10 people in your group, you'll be able to still see the slight differences in the colors.
Very cool. Yeah, and that's the thing, when you look at it and you haven't used the device before, it may look overwhelming to you, but then once you see it, we've got 4 riders here. We got purple, we've got a green, we got a yellow, and we got a blue. And then the lights to the right of it just shows that they're connected to the group. So if you had beside that yellow light in the middle of the display here, if that wasn't green, it was red, you know that person wasn't connected properly. Maybe they shut their snowmobile off, or maybe they're in a ditch and lost power, or what have you. But that's important to know, and it's easy to see at a glance. That's one thing I liked about it, is once you understood what it was, you just were able to look at it and go, we're good to go.
Yeah. And I don't know if we've touched on it, but your notifications. So if I, for example, on my unit here, I'm the blue user, and if I send like a stop request, that actually goes through in my colors. So people will be able to see, like when someone sends a notification, they'll be able to see the notification come through.
Hey, look how fast that one came through too, guys. Holy.
Yeah, no, that's
probably the green screen screwing it up, but there's a blue square there.
Yeah. So it goes. So if you have, the purple guy sends his notification, you'll be able to know, like after you ride. I think with Gary, nice.
Yeah. See, it's blue. Yeah. The green screen's knocked it out.
That's funny. Yeah.
Like my invisible cooler.
Yeah.
Nice thing about the app is you don't have to worry about the colors too much, because it'll just tell you the name of the person that's lost.
That's
exactly, right?
Yeah.
Actually, funnily enough, I had that coloring issue at a golf simulator this week, and one of the guys went with colorblind, and on the sim I pretty much picked the same exact spectrum of color, and he was like, I can't distinguish who's who on the sim. I'm like, oops.
Yeah. No, I see. I just saw the message. Yeah, should show cops. Yeah, like Waze. Yeah, we gotta. I talked to the OPP about that. I saw them at one of like the shows, right? So I was just talking about TrailLink with
our friends.
Yeah, we just gotta make sure that the units we give them are specific. So then whenever someone gets in range of theirs, then it pops up on the map. Ride stop ahead. Watch.
Why is OPP engraved in the bottom of these units? Oh, it's just custom for you guys. It's like,
why is there a pig button, but it's locked? Why is there a pig button, but it's locked out on mine? Does it mean we want to stop for bacon? Yeah. No, it's kind of cool, but that's something that I know Dan would be able to do that tonight, and tomorrow morning he's going to go, I put a little, pig in the button, and you hit that and it means there's a cop ahead.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something we can do. And I think I saw someone also ask about like, it'd be good for groomer on like oncoming like groomer detection, and it would be. It's just we got to get the clubs on board with that. Like that's something that we can implement in the app, so you can get like notifications if there's a groomer ahead. But it's just right now we're trying to start small and then work our way up. And if we have a lot of people using them, then it'll really, the clubs will be more inclined to working with us to trying to, really, you have it on every groomer. And then there's a big safety factor there, right? Because you hear about people, coming around a blind corner and they go right into a groomer.
Yeah. And there was a device, or it was a communicator years ago that had that. And the company actually invested and put beacons in the groomers, and it kind of fell to the wayside. But so it's not a crazy request or a pipe dream. It's just a matter of getting buy-in, right? And I mean, the more people that use this and get on it now, I mean, it's a hugely useful tool for just a group of buddies, right?
Yeah.
Once you get a network of people using this, that it becomes, the opportunities are endless with it, right? Oncoming alerts and things like that, if you have that. But you know, to start out and start small, it's a very effective tool just for, you know, 2 riders, 4 riders, 10 riders, you know, small groups, right?
Okay, I'm gonna go to the next photo. Oh, there's a good shot of how it's mounted. I like that.
Yeah, it's hard to see in this because it's dark, but the
yeah, that's how I currently have it mounted. Yeah.
Yeah, you got your screen on the left, and then you got your phone in your phone holder running the TrailLink map, and then you've got the antenna receiver mounted to the right, which is really cool.
Yeah, you want to have your antenna as high as possible. Is like you could shove it behind a side panel or in your glove box if you wanted to, but for best results, anything with an antenna, really point straight up and have it as high as possible. So that's why I mounted it there.
And I was talking about kind of half stealing this idea on the Gen 4. I was gonna when we get units from you guys, I'm gonna maybe put it in the glove box, but then cut a hole in my lid for the antenna to go through. So it's kind of hidden still, like the actual unit, and then still have the puck outside for the click, but then maybe make like something inside the glove box. Also be a little warmer in there too, so the battery would last just that little bit longer as well.
That would definitely work.
Now, who's this crazy dude you rode with?
That was fun day, guys. That was awesome. Look at this. Look at the sky. It's just a beautiful day.
Yeah,
it really was a great day. Yeah.
Too bad, like it was a great day, but we had if the trails were a bit smoother, that would have been like, it would have been one for the books, right? Because we rode some really nice twisty trails, but unfortunately the groomer hadn't been around recently on those ones.
No, and that's again, that was Swift Rapids lock we were on there, and I said earlier in the season when we first went up there with Corey and Mike Galitz that these trails are like some of the nicest trails I've ever ridden on in Ontario. And there was only one bad spot that day we were out, and with the original group. And when I went with you guys, it had gone downhill very rapidly. Again, getting closer to the end of the year, so I'm not sure whether clubs have given up at this point in time or what the thing is. But yeah, that was a great day. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we still got some good trails. Like even after that one, we still looped around a bit more. Remember, we were debating on going a bit farther north, and then we said, okay, let's do it. And those ones were good too.
Yeah, that right when you leave here, it was really good.
Yeah. I love that section.
Yeah. So these were some screenshots from that ride. You'll see like the one on the furthest to the left, that's before we actually started heading back down. That's like still when we're still up north. So you can see where we started down, basically right at like the bottom of like the map there. You can see like the line. So since I think I was riding in the rear most of the time, that's what, well, it's also from my phone. So that's why my line is the purple line.
Oh yeah,
so it looks like there's only purple, but you'd actually, if you were to zoom in, you could see like the 3 of our different colored lines, and they'd be like right on top of each other running along those trails. And honestly, like, Dan, we really need to have a way to download these breadcrumbs, because like if you do a nice ride and you're like, oh, I want to remember where we went, you can do it. You can just simply download your route or something. You could put it up on a poster or something too. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But,
well, it would be a KML. Could you put it into another GPS? Like if it was
saving the file, like the route as a GPX or KML or something like that is totally doable. Just hasn't gotten to the top of the to-do list yet.
Yeah,
so that is a feature that will come for sure. Both saving the ride in the app, because right now you can't save it in the app either. But we'll add it so you can save it in the app, and you'd have like a list of your rides, but as well as export it to use for something else too. Just haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah, I love that. Saving the ride in the app is great, because BRP Go, that's one thing I like about it is I go back on there even in the summertime, sitting on the dock having a brewski, and I'll just go and look through the rides, and just even not even going into detail, just like, oh yeah, I remember that ride, right? And it's,
which I have a picture. We'll get into that.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool in that. So yeah.
And I believe that's the end of the photos that you guys sent. So
Well, that's pretty cool. But yeah, you want to get into some fan photos, and we'll keep talking about your app.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got a few fan photos here. So let me just run the
promo,
the Fast Track ad. Fan photos are brought to you by Fast Track Snowmobile Traction. This season, quit sliding sideways on the ice and losing races to your buddies. A Fast Track stud kit will help you with improved braking and give you the arm-ripping acceleration you crave. I put over 3,000 clicks last season on my Renegade 850, and I'll tell you, these studs exceeded my expectations. Not one broken stud, my idle wheels still look like new, and they hooked up like I was on rails in the twisties, inspiring confidence every ride. Fast Track Top Gun kits are the highest rated stud kit at 4.9 stars with over 230 reviews. The studs are heat treated stainless so they are strong and they don't rust. The kit is lighter, easier on the track, and has a lifetime warranty against breaking. Each kit comes with a track specific template for complete balance with over double the scratch lines from stock templates. All listeners when purchasing a stud kit can get a free install kit, a $30 value. Visit fasttrack.co, add both products to the cart, and use the coupon code SNOW at the checkout. That's fasttrac.co. Right on. Thank you for that, Fast Track. So,
I think we're ready to go here.
yeah. So
you didn't pull it up. You
what's
didn't pull
that?
it up.
Oh yeah, here we go. I got it all covered up here. Boom. Boom.
Okay. So as it turns out, winter is here. This was taken yesterday in our driveway when I was went out to shovel the snow. I thought I don't know the last time my car has ever looked like this or has looked like this in the month of November. Sucks that my car's a garage princess, but it has to park outside now at the new house. So I guess it's got to get used to that. But pretty much I could only see the license plate. And yeah, so I went out and cleaned off. And I said to myself, maybe, just maybe, it's time to take the mountain bike rack off the roof. I was holding out for a few more trips to the hydro cut or to maybe some other places, but I think it might just be time to take that off. But and then the other thing I wanted to do is, so today we were just talking to a friend of ours about BRP Go, and I went to go open up the app and I noticed that they've done a whole new UI for it. And now when you open it up, it actually has a year review from your adventure. So if you have not opened up your BRP Go app this year yet, update it and open it up, and it has this ready for you the second you open up. So it says, welcome, Drew, check everything you can do. They missed an opportunity to have do with 2 O's, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's your sled at the top, and then last adventure. So that shows my kilometers from last year, how many rides, the total time you spend, and average ride time, which I thought was just kind of cool. And I know that some people probably haven't checked the app in 8 months or whatever. So if you want to check that out, it's there. And also I think that setting's gonna be permanent because you can also set it to a specific month period of time as well. But okay, let's get into some fan photos here. You have the write-up, I believe.
I do so. This is sent in by Wisco Sledheads. And Justin says, back at her, getting ready for hopefully a solid winter ahead. Lots of minor or major projects. And yes, I'm a Skidoo owner now.
Ooh, nice one.
Sexy dad machine, I know, completely rebuilt due to a prior owner being a dummy and not putting oil in it. Is that a 700?
It's a 500.
It's a 500? It's great machine there, Wisco. And then go to the next one there. New to me truck in June, 5 liter, of course. Yeah, that's nice. It was a nice truck for a Ford. And then he's got the next one's a picture of his wife's sexy eyes on June 12th, jet skiing. And his son was born on June 15th, Father's Day. A lot of work for me, I know.
Is that his son right there?
Yeah. and you can't forget riding season last winter without so there you go. That's one of my favorite pictures of those two clowns. And he says he never forgets last winter without a famous wet burrito at Andy's in Sandy, Michigan. But that's a great. I think you rode those trails when we were in Canada, or the rest of the gang was in Canada. And where's the wet burrito? Right
there we go.
Yeah, looks delicious.
I gotta say something though. In all of these photos, he sent in. I don't know how many photos this is, whatever it is. There's only one Polaris in here. Everything is also Bombardier product. So
there you go.
He's getting there.
Yeah, he's slowly coming over. And he says, and he can't forget. Oh yeah, his license plate says now we're looking for snow.
Oh,
Yeah, is his license plate on his truck. So anyway, he says, and he can't forget the new side-by-sides his parents picked up over the weekend.
oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I knew it would be, when I read that, I knew it would be a CF Moto.
Yeah,
just
because his dad was ogling them at the.
Yeah, it's a 2026 CF Moto U10 Pro Highland XL. It's got full heat, air, power windows, power dump box, power tip-out windshield, Apple CarPlay. Yeah, loaded to the max. Machine is insanely nice for the price point, about $11,000 US, cheaper than the competition. And the word on the street is they're passing Polaris next year in side-by-side sales. Can-Am better watch out. And their booth at Heydays, this is why I said I knew when he said a new side-by-side, I knew it was going to be a CF, because at Heydays, it was fantastic. And talking with the engineers on the machines and the quality of the units they're putting out, it was just a no-brainer. So that was really cool. Yeah. But going through the pictures, yeah, like
Oh my
Apple
God.
CarPlay on a UTV, which is really, really awesome. And you should get a TrailLink for that sucker, eh, guys?
Absolutely.
Oh, Massart picked
Then
up
Massart
more
picked
sleds.
it. And I can't remember what his.
These are I believe these are picked up for his cousins.
Yeah, and I think his subject line was, and it continues, or something to that.
Well, he sent me
Something to that.
he sent me this
Agreed.
picture after sending me so many pictures of sleds this week, and I was like, "Did you actually seriously just go buy 2 XPs for no reason? You just had to have like 13, 14, 20 million sleds for no reason?"
Well, that's a
He's
shop.
like, "No, it's for my cousins or
That's
something
a
like
shop,
that."
and it looks like a snowmobile dealership.
No, that's not his shop. That is a
No?
snowmobile dealership.
I don't know.
Yeah, because look, there's a 2000 MXZ 600 starting at $24.95.
I'm sure he's got those in his shop.
Nice, couple 09 E-Techs, or yeah, because that's what you had. This is what was yeah.
Is that a new trail pass on there too, Massart? That's pretty wild. But yeah, it's thank you for sending those in, guys. Keep them coming every week. Fan photo at mudbrats.com, and we'll go from there. So how do people keep in touch with the TrailLink and follow what's going on and order the units?
Yeah, so that can be found like on our website. You have it's traillink.ca is where you can visit the website. There's some more information on there. We're actively updating that because it's just Dan and I that are working on it. We don't have a website developer. We're the website developers as well. So you can find more info there. And then also we're trying to stay up to date on social media as well, which is just TrailLink with like an underscore. I think it's linked on the website as well. So that's probably the best way to find it. You can buy straight through the website. We do build them to orders. So if you order sometimes most people order, you're not just going to order 2 usually, right? So if you order like 10 or something, then it does take us a little while to build those. But yeah.
What is the price point? Someone asked earlier in the show, and you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so it depends on what you're getting. So you'll see on the website, if you're just buying like the unit, so you can get the unit alone. So maybe some of the mountain riders, they don't even want like the display. So instead they just want to put it in their backpack or strap it onto their backpack. So we have the option where you can just buy the unit alone, or you can buy like the mount with the display. So it varies the price. So usually it's around like the $299 mark per unit. But there is bulk pricing, so I think it comes down to around 200 Canadian. By the way, this is in Canadian, so the people in the US just assume that it's like 30% cheaper because these are Canadian numbers, and unfortunately, our dollar. I don't think our dollar is doing much better these days, is it?
Yeah, no. Is there any issues with shipping them to the US?
No shipping to the US. That's completely fine. And the the frequency that we use, that's North American. There's no issues with running that in both Canada, US, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. And again, TrailLink's a supporter and sponsor of this podcast. And if you use the promo code SNOWBRATS, SNOWBRATS, on TrailLink.ca, you will get 25% off your order.
Yes.
That's a really good promo. So use promo code SNOWBRATS at checkout for 25% off your order. But check them out online, TrailLink.ca. And if you have any questions, I mean, you're talking to the owners right now, the developers, the creators, the geniuses behind this technology. If you have any questions you immediately want to ask, fire them up in the chat or hit them up on their website or social media. And they'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, no, we're always happy. There's like, I don't think people actually understand when, like, on the website there's like a little chat box, right? And it's, if you send like a message through that, it's not going to an AI or something. It literally goes straight to me, and I'm the one that's replying to those people. And sometimes it can be a little much if there's like a bunch of people asking things, since I'm the only one replying. But it's just, no, like, if you do ask something, then it's going to be me or Dan. Dan's replied a couple times to those sorts of things. So it's easy. If you have any questions, then just send us a message through there, or even through social media as well, like Instagram, that sort of thing. Yeah.
That's very cool. And that's neat, because if you get a unit and you're not sure, about setting it up or whatever, you could get on the live chat on the website and instantly talk to the developer and walk you through it. But yeah, because I even had questions when we had the units, just making sure I was doing it right and that type of thing. But it really is easier than what, it's one of those things that it's actually easier than what you
exactly.
think.
And when we sent them to you, like, there was no, like, there's like a little quick start guide that was in the box, but there's no manual. Like, there's actually a full, I think it's like a 15-page manual that I put together that outlines everything in the app. It outlines the how to use the device, how to charge it, how to basically everything that you'd expect to be able to know.
Yeah, Mike K says that's a novel thought that you actually get to talk to a real human.
I know, it's strange, right? Like, usually in this day and age, you know what? It is. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very good. And that just shows you the I think it's the hands-on approach that you guys have. And that's what I love about it. And we first started talking to how I know you guys now. It was like, and the fact I just can't stress it enough when Dan pushes out a change and it's instant. I mean, it's something that, hey, you're not being asked for this, but you and Dan came up with this great idea that it would be great to have this feature, and you put it out there, and the next update on your app, it's working. It's very cool.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, we've tried to make it as easily, like for example, with updating the firmware on the device, you just connect your phone to the device, and it'll prompt you. Like, you'll get an app update, and then once you update the app, it'll prompt you like, oh, would you like to update the firmware? You can choose not to. It tells you what the update actually includes, so it'll be like, oh, these are the new features. You can choose not to if you don't want to update it, but it's just then you update the firmware on your TrailLink, and away you go.
Very cool. Bam Custom says, if you were to meet another group with TrailLink head on, will your system alert you of an oncoming group?
Dan, do you want to answer this one?
Yeah, the answer is not at the moment, but not because we can't do that, just because we focused on other features, because you have to have a lot of people out there using TrailLink for that to be particularly valuable. So so far we've focused on features like the sending the alerts and things like that. But once there's some more, we've got a good number of units out there, yeah, you'll get an update and it'll do exactly that. And same with, if we get them mount on groomers and stuff like that, you'll get alerts for that too. So the technology's there, it's already ready to do that. Just we will have to update it to do that.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that if your unit solely just did that, it would be a horrible purchase, because you'd have to rely on everybody and their brother owning one of these things, where you can confidently buy a 2 or 3 pack of the TrailLink and use it with your riding group, or 4-pack or 10-pack or whatever you buy, and use it with your riding group. And if you're the only 10 that ever bought these units, you're going to get the value out of them, because that's all you need.
Exactly.
They're going to do everything that you promised them to do, and they need to do right out of the box for your group and your group only. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we have that option. As more and more people adopt them, the more features we can roll out. And like, there's it'd be really cool if we can have, you were mentioning about earlier how you'd have maybe like the OFSC map running on your trail map, right? But it'd be really cool if we can somehow have, the TrailLink hardware integrate into the OFSC map, and then all of a sudden you have this working where, you don't even need to have the TrailLink app running. You just solely have the OFSC map, and some like that. That's at a certain stage where, the OFSC is like, okay, maybe everyone that buys a trail pass you'll get like a discount for a TrailLink, or like everyone can then get a TrailLink. Like there's stages where, we could go and, not just have your own little group, not just have the value of having it in your group, but then have the value of everyone using one, where maybe having the oncoming detection would be more useful, and then having the groomer detection, and having if first responders had them, then you'd be able, when you're sending an SOS, they'll be able to find you. Actually, I don't know if Dan mentioned this, but basically when you send an SOS, it sends that to any TrailLink. So even if they're not in your group, then people will still outside of your group will be able to find you. So maybe the first responders will now have their own TrailLink, and they'll be able to find you. And especially if they're like, flying in a helicopter or something, the range is much further because you're not going, along the ground. Instead, you're going to be going up through like open space, which, with radio waves, you get a much farther range. So if someone were to be flying around in a helicopter, they could find you pretty quick.
This really, like, we've talked and focused on trail riding, obviously, because that's what Drew and I do. But this thing here would be super powerful in the mountains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, if you look at our friend, Muskoka Freerider, and his riding group is all brands. They have Yamaha, even, for crying out loud. Yeah, you could have a TrailLink on every one of their sleds, and like you're going to be in touch. You've got everybody on the map, and if you have an SOS, then helicopters and anyone else could see it if they've got the unit. I think that's very powerful.
This does the breadcrumbing, which is why Matt will run the Trail Tech to link with the 7S displays that his buddies ride with the Chaos. The one guy's got the Chaos Slash, and the other one's got the RMK. He'll run that Trail Tech on his summit, so then he's breadcrumbing with them. But I like something like this would be perfect for a group of guys like that, right?
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
We should try to get Furlong and his buddies turned on.
Yeah. Like
we have a Adam Furlong, Backyard Recreation, who the chatters will know is our basically main skidoo mechanic. He's in a mountain rider only, pretty much, and he goes out west all the time. So this is the kind of product to push to him, to even get him to try him out for us too.
We could put two in his hand and see what he thinks. But he's probably watching the show right now in the shop, tinkering away. That's usually how he works. But yeah, it's that's a good point. But I really do think this is one of those things where we're talking trails here today, but in the mountains it would be insane. I think.
Yeah, I remember last year or middle of last season, Freerider like Matt, he had a video where I think the video was specifically just talking about the brands and how, Skidoo has announced that they're going to have the buddy tracking built into their, well, you're going to have to buy the 10-inch display, then you have to buy their buddy tracking module, but you'll be able to get this and their new sleds. And then Matt was talking about how it would be really amazing if Polaris and Skidoo and Arctic Cat or whatever, all the manufacturers were able to work with one another. And, I think that I'm not sure, like, I won't even like speculate on whether or not that would ever happen, because I don't know. But I'm just thinking from a corporate standpoint, it would be it would be difficult. But I was thinking if Matt, if I could just talk to him, if I could just show him like, oh, there's actually kind of like this product that we have here that you can just. And one of the better things actually, when I was talking to some guys that were mountain riding, is that you actually, instead of mounting it to your snowmobile, instead of being powered directly from your snowmobile, with the TrailLink Go, you just put it on your backpack strap, or you put it in your backpack.
Because they all have the big mountain backpacks on there.
And if you go flying off your sled, or your sled breaks down and loses power, they're still able to find where you are and not being relying on your snowmobile having that built into your snowmobile. Mm-hmm. So
it's like they already carry those beacons, those avalanche beacons with them. So what's one more little device, right? And you can have it still strapped to their backpack strap right there, and the unit, the button can be on the sled, but the important thing is to have the to have a unit.
Yeah,
in
well,
it.
And I think the
technically,
key thing is,
at
it
the
doesn't matter what
moment,
you're, yeah, it doesn't
I
matter
was just
what
gonna
you're
say,
riding. Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Gary. Go ahead.
I was saying it doesn't matter what you're riding. Polaris,
Mhm.
you could have a Polaris, a Skidoo, a Yamaha,
Catalyst.
Arctic Cat, whatever you want in that group, and it doesn't matter. You're all going to have everybody show up on the same map. It's very cool. Anyway, you go ahead now.
Yeah, oh, I was gonna say it was just what Drew had mentioned about having the display on your sled. Unfortunately, the display is not wireless yet. So if you have the unit on your backpack, the display is gonna have to be wired somehow. So that is something that we've thought about, Dan and I. We're like, okay, can we make it wireless? Can you have it so you have the main transmitter on your backpack, then you have it wireless on your snowmobile so you can mount your display anywhere? But it just adds, now you have to have a battery in the display. Now you have to have communication going on. It just adds an extra point of failure that we're trying to get around having that. But yeah, I think when you are mountain riding, I don't think you're too concerned about the display. You're not going to be sending so many, like you just pull your phone and you just check, right? You're just going to be able to see where you are, where your breadcrumbs are, breadcrumbs from your buddies, that sort of thing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. Do you have any other questions for the boys? Do you have any last words?
Yeah, Dan, how are you doing over there? Do you have anything to add in?
No, I think we've covered everything. I guess the only thing we didn't mention is the TrailLink Go is don't just think about it only for snowmobiling. You can take it hunting, hiking, backpacking, ATVing, whatever. So the nice thing about the battery is mountain biking.
I'm a solo mountain bike. I'm a solo mountain bike rider. Usually, like I'll go out just in the forest or by myself, and I might be keen to throw one on my backpack and connect him or somebody at home to my TrailLink. So then if I have an issue out in the forest or something, because, like I go to places with I'm doing, it's kind of dumb, you're doing like 20-foot drops on a mountain bike by yourself in the forest, and any little thing can happen and you get injured out there, you're kind of cooked. So, and if I break an ankle or something, I'm really cooked. I drive a manual car, so I would need someone to come rescue me.
Yeah, it is a very safe. It's a very safe tool, no matter what you're doing, though, right? I like the thing. Put it on your dog. If your dog runs off, you can find your dog.
If you're going on a nature hike or something,
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you see down the road? Do you see units getting smaller, or do you have any visions of where you want to take this down the road?
Yeah, we do. We do see having so the unit itself, like what we have here is we do want to have maybe like a TrailLink like pocket that's more directly related to maybe that hiking sector where you don't need to have the long battery, you don't need to have as far of range, like it's more of like a leaner build behind it, just to be able to make it smaller so you can literally just put it in your pocket. But for snowmobiling wise, we're really happy what we've been able to do like hardware wise in the last year, and we're just going to focus on adding in those updates that we've talked about, and maybe in the future we can try to boost the range even further, or add some other thing to this that really have a TrailLink Pro or something. But we're trying to keep it. I don't know. We're happy with where it is, where the hardware has got, where we've been able to take that, and really it's we're excited for this winter. Like that's the biggest thing. Like it's awesome that it's snowing now, and yeah. Hey Dan, do you have anything to mention on that, or?
No, I think you covered it well, and I'm excited that it's snowing for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. No, and TrailLink.ca, make sure you check them out, follow them on social media, but and throughout the season we'll push through some updates as we go along here, and some reports and that kind of thing, and away we go. But thank you guys for your time tonight. That was great. I know it was kind of a whim where I was thinking I might not be well enough to do the show, but I'm glad I am. It was an interesting podcast for sure. We learned a lot, and there's more to learn on this absolutely as we move forward.
Great. Yeah, no, it's great to be on here. It's great to, be talking to you more about this stuff. And I know we've been talking now for quite a while about just trailing stuff. So I'm happy that people were asking questions and, getting pretty engaged with some of the stuff. So it was nice. It was a great time being here.
Yeah, for sure. So
absolutely.
thank you, TrailLink, for sponsors. Thank you for Fast Track Snowmobile Traction Project products and QUALIPIECES for keeping this show on the air. And yeah, we'll see everybody next week. It's a really big show. I won't say too much about it, but there's a guy named Levi coming on.
He does ride a Polaris, but I won't hold that against him.
Stay tuned for the thumbnail coming up.
Okay.
It's going to be an awesome show.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good show. But thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll be in touch throughout the season and get out on some rides again. That was fun.
Yeah, can't wait to
Yeah, we got to plan a ride for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll get these things on a group for sure. But yeah. Okay. Have a great night, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah,
you too. Take care.
Let it ride.
Bye-bye.
It's a journey for